Hi there, this is James from Mode Lighting, and in this video we're going to cover delay timers and the multi-step timer. Okay, so first we'll be starting with the delay timer. I've set up a simple dimmer here and a plate. This is currently doing on one button and off on the other, but our client asks for this to be timed off after 15 minutes. It's just a simple press and then we'll turn off after 15 minutes. When it's a single action, a standard delay timer will be the right thing to use. So let's set that up now. I'm going to go down to the input section here and I'm going to scroll down and find delay timer and I'm going to add that in. And now we get a few things have appeared in one go. We have some outputs and some inputs. First things first, I would set how long your timer needs to be for. Currently this is set for 5 minutes, but you can set this by going into the spanner icon here and changing the time. I'm just going to set this into our delay timer area as well, and of course you can name it if need be. So how do we trigger this? So we have on input here this button press of on, and we want an output in this scene, in this case, of start the timer. We have to denote what this is actually going to trigger. So now we have to look down at the delay timer in the input section here, and we need to put a recall on the scene that we want it to trigger at the end of its timing. And this would basically work. I'm going to just change this just for ease. I'm going to change this down to a 10-second timer so we can see things happen quickly and just understand what's going on a little bit better. And we're going to go and just check that from the monitor page. So I've gone through to the monitor page here and we can see this delay timer area that I've set up. So now what we can do is we can watch as I hit the button, the delay timer has started, the scene has come on, and the timer will continue to tick down, and then after 10 seconds we get the stop and the off scene is triggered. So we know that that is working correctly and tested through. So for a simple one-off action, that will work fine. Let's just go back and have a look at a couple more of the options in the configurator page. So this action here of start, we have had a couple of other options we could pick here. So start will, every time there is a new trigger, it will restart the timer, continuing it on. Fixed delay is a different option where it will, no matter how many other triggers come through of that button press, it will only have taken the first one and will do the fixed amount of time and then stop. And we also have an option here for a stop if you need to make sure that the timer doesn't continue on. And let's have a look at a use case for that. This second keypad is going to be able to control a section of these lights, and it can turn them on and turn them off. So at this point we could have a possible conflict, some of the lights being turned on from this secondary keypad, and I wouldn't want the timer to continue to turn the lights off. So this secondary keypad is allowed to turn the lights on and keep them on in this example and not have them time out. So we need to have it be able to override this timer. This would be the use of the stop command here. So now what would happen is if this second keypad, if the lights were turned on from this one, it would actually stop any timers that were running previously and make sure that the lights don't time out. So the start and the stop commands will allow you to control these sequences in any way you need, but you will need to set them up correctly to make sure that your sequences don't continue on when you don't want them to. And that's the basics of a simple delay timer. We now also have a multi-step version which is needed mainly for things like sequences. In this example, what I've made up is a DALI DBM giving out color output, and it's just, I want to set up a sequence where it does red, green, blue over and over and over again. We could do that with delay timers and have multiples selecting each other and making a loop that way, but that's a bit more tedious than what we now have with the multi-step. So here we go. I'm going to go down into the input section this time, and I'm going to pick multi-step timer, and I'm going to add one. And we can see currently this has 2 steps, but I'm going to need a 3-step system. So I'm going to go into the spanner here. I'm going to add a step 3. I'm going to add it to the multi-step timer area. And I'm going to change these times down to be something nice and short for this test. So I've set all of these times now for 5 seconds, and I'm going to hit OK. Now we have these steps. We can add a recall on each of them. So we now know, in theory, if this sequence was recalled, it should be recalling each of these. Now the key piece of information is actually back here in the spanner. and it is to do with repeats of the sequence. So obviously no repeats would just have it play out red, green, blue, step 1, 2, 3 once. Normally one of the more useful ones is to have a continuous, but you also have got an option to have it do it for a certain number of loops. So I'm going to go for continuous here. I'm going to hit OK. I'm going to add another keypad here, and I'm going to make a new scene, which is going to be, in this case, I'm going to call start, and it is going to have an option for starting the timer, and then I'm going to make another one for stopping the timer, so we don't loop forever. So we have our start and stop. We are going to add these to a keypad, so we have some control that way. So at a very basic, the start and the stop would be correct, and we can go through to the monitor page here and take a quick look at this now. So in here we have our multi-step area set up. I'm going to now hit button 1, and we can see it goes directly straight to red, and then every 5 seconds in the timer it will do the next step, green, blue, and because we selected that continuous, it should also go back round to red and continue on, and that sequence will continue on forever until I hit that stop button. We can see the timer has stopped, the color is now fixed to the red scene, and that should be everything done. But that is the basics of delay timers and multi-step timers. Thank you for listening, and please like and subscribe for more content.